Unfortunately, I have to talk a lot about video game censorship on the channel and companies not allowing certain games on their platforms, but now we're finding out that Puppet Combo's Christmas Massacre is getting released on the PlayStation, but was actually blocked on the Microsoft and Nintendo stores. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. So, I'm going to be referencing a Niche Gamer article. It says developer Puppet Combo has noted through Twitter that their game Christmas Massacre has been denied release on Xbox consoles and on the Nintendo Switch, which is so odd because a lot of the time when I have to talk about censorship or games being banned on certain platforms, I am talking about Sony, not allowing content on their platforms. They are notorious for banning games and blocking the release of games, but usually titles are released on the Nintendo Switch, and there's really no issue. Nintendo, over the past few years, has been very good when it comes to allowing developers to release all sorts of content on the Switch, but unfortunately, that is actually not what is happening here. It says Puppet Combo are well known for creating tons of retro-style horror games, many of which can be rather graphic and gory, but that shouldn't mean that a game gets banned or ultimately censored, because again, these are titles for adults. As an adult, I should be allowed to play the content I want, and in this game, you are Santa Claus going around and killing people, but it's a video game. It really should not matter all that much, but apparently it does. It says the developer announced that Christmas Massacre is coming to PlayStation and also released a special trailer. And this is so shocking because you would think if it was going to release on anything, it would at least release on the Switch and then most likely the Xbox. And then, PlayStation would be the very last on the list because Sony is so well known for banning games at this point. But it's very odd that it's actually getting released on the PlayStation platform. I wish I could say that I think this means better things are to come. Maybe we won't have to worry so much about Sony censorship anymore, but I highly doubt it. One situation like this is, not groundbreaking. Sometimes things do slip through the cracks. Sometimes things do ultimately get through because it's not like they have very set in stone guidelines that their employees are following when they are accepting or denying content. That is another major issue when it comes to games getting banned, is that sometimes you have two games that are very similar in content. One will get through, one will be blocked, and unfortunately there's really no rhyme or reason there. But in the comments, the developer noted to prospective buyers that the game is not coming to the Switch or Xbox consoles because those in charge denied them and they are not willing to censor their content. I do think that it would be pretty hard to censor this game, but I've got to be honest, it's really not that graphic. As it says, they have tons of retro style horror games, and this definitely is it. It is a PlayStation 1 inspired title, and it honestly looks really fun and really enjoyable. But it is definitely sad to hear that it will not be releasing on other platforms. People are questioning any plans on Xbox, or have you given up on Xbox after Microsoft wouldn't let Knights at the Gates of Hell on? And they said, no, we still try to get every game on Xbox, and they say no. And over the past couple of years, we have had some situations where Microsoft definitely has denied games, but it's very few and far between. Again, same with the Nintendo Switch, but hearing that only PlayStation will allow it will come as a shock to many of you, like it is to me. Now, this is already out on Steam, and Steam didn't have an issue with it either, so it's a very backward situation going on with this game right now. You couldn't have said that before giving us all hope for nothing for the Switch version. It's not the developer's fault. This is what I always have to say when I make these videos. Unless the developer is saying, we're going to censor content to get on these platforms, which in this case they're not, don't get mad at the developers. They really can do nothing except for censor their game and then resubmit it. And because Puppet Combo is saying they will not do that, they deserve all of the props that they can get. It is definitely very frustrating when you maybe only have one platform. Say you only have a Switch, but you don't have a PlayStation 5, and now you wouldn't be able to play it on that platform. There's nothing that the developers can do about that. It's not like they can say, really nicely, oh, hey, can you actually reconsider? Because that is just not how, these companies work. Niche Gamer also says the graphic and gory content seems to be responsible despite the Xbox consoles and Nintendo Switch all having highly gory games. You would think if they are willing to have things like Mortal Kombat on their platforms, they wouldn't have an issue with a PlayStation 1 graphics inspired retro like horror game, because it's really not that visual. I mean, yes, there are like blood splatters and you are going around knifing people, but it's a video game, and if they're okay with something like Mortal Kombat where you rip someone's spine out of their body and you're doing all of these like crazy fatalities where you're smashing someone's head in, you'd think that they would allow something like this, as long as it is properly age-rated, and in this case it is. Some commenters have also stated that both the Nintendo eShop and Xbox already have a few Puppet Combo games on there already. That is very true. They have not overall blacklisted these developers, but it does seem like they just are only, willing to accept some of their content. They're very pick and choose. I know Yagensha had made a tweet on this. As you can see, this game is not coming to Microsoft and Nintendo stores due to its content. First time in recent years I hear about a game being allowed on PlayStation and refused by the other big two. I completely agree. I mean, I cover a lot of censorship on the channel, and most of the time it's Sony, sometimes Valve, but more often than not, it's those two. And Nintendo kind of really allows most content to go. Xbox as well. Of course, things do sometimes slip through the cracks, but yeah, I mean, I am very shocked, as I'm sure a lot of you are as well. Surprised Xbox didn't grab that, since they already have a few Puppet Combo games that have some pretty dark content to them. What is even happening? Also, didn't Nintendo say they were never going to deny any games as long as it's got a non-adult only rating? A company's words are rarely worth their weight when push comes to shove, and I completely agree with this. That is why every time I get excited for a game, I sit down and I research it. I look up, was this, released in other places? Was it censored? Was it banned? Have the developers said anything odd? How do the trailers look like? You really have to investigate games before you buy them now, because unfortunately we do have to face a lot of censorship. In this case, it is not the developers' faults. They are not willing to bend the knee, which is something that they deserve praise on, but it is a very sad situation all around. If you were looking forward to this game, you can buy it on PlayStation, which is so bizarre to say. You can buy it on Steam, which again is kind of bizarre to say, but you can't buy it on the Switch or the Xbox. I will definitely be keeping my eye out for this. Maybe something will change. Maybe because so many of us have been talking about it on social media, they will, be able to resubmit it. Maybe, Nintendo or somebody at Nintendo will go, you know what, it was a big accident, because sometimes situations change, but at this point in time, unfortunately, Christmas Massacre's release was blocked on Microsoft and Nintendo stores. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.